I'm upside down in the 80s. Kick it! Alright, welcome to a big 80s show here. We're going to talk about Stranger Things pop-up store. We're going to talk about the top 5 songs, 80 songs. And of course, we got to start it off with a little bit of Mexican pizza. First introduced in 1985, I think they called it the Pizzazz Pizza or something. Taco Bell discontinued it. Dumb. And then brought it back. Smart. We're going to have some Mexican pizza and talk about the 80s. I'm going to eat this first, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Alright, we're back. I tell you, Taco Bell. Food from the gods. Food from the gods. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to talk about Stranger Things really quick. Stranger Things, if you're unfamiliar, of course, what I usually do on this channel primarily is vinyl stuff, so let's show the vinyl off. This is the original music of Stranger Things Season 1 there. It's a great, great score. Eerie music. Creepy science fiction eerie stuff. And this is what people really like. They like music from the original series, and I'll just tell you, it is loaded with 80s stuff. The Police, The Clash, The Bengals, Echo and the Bunnymen, Corey Hart, Duran Duran, Joy Division, Olivia Newton-John, Psychedelic Furs, Toto, Devo, Bon Jovi, Cyndi Lauper, on and on, the Scorpions, Peter Gabriel. Everything you want about the 80s are on these soundtracks. Of course, a lot of people already have a lot of these songs, but if you don't, like if you're younger and you don't really have a lot of 80s stuff, that's why people are picking these up. It's like a hits of the 80s. Stranger Things is a show that is on Netflix, premiered in 2016. I personally didn't get Netflix until March 2020. We all know March 2020 was when COVID hit. And the world stopped, although I have an essential job. So I never stopped. I never missed a single hour of work because of COVID or anything like that. But I knew my hanging out outside of work was going to be very limited for a while because everyone was locked down and all that. So I finally broke down and got Netflix. And one of the first things I started to watch, because I heard such great things about, is Stranger Things. In fact, I think it currently carries like a 8.7 on the International Movie DB thing. It's awesome. But I really like season 1. Familiar with the show, you know what I'm talking about. You live in the upside down world and all that stuff. It's really cool. If you're not familiar with it, like, oh, is that a kid's show or whatever? It is good for adults as well. That's why it's so hugely popular. 3 seasons. Season 4 kicks off later this week. I believe May 27th is when the first few episodes of Season 4 kicks off. It's got a strong ties to the 80s. Obviously, I think Season 1 takes place in 83. And all these little kids are... Yeah, I don't want to ruin any of the plot for you, but it's like science fiction. They get trapped in this time thing and what happens when other things come out of the time upside down world. It's really cool. Season 2 takes place in 84. Season 3 takes place in 85. Like I said, Season 4 that comes out is supposed to take place in 1986. So it's all about, it's got a lot of 80s. So the kids go to arcades, go to the mall with the clothes they're wearing. It's really cool. Problem though with kids shows, you got to film them fast. Because like, I think... the Finn, who plays Mike on the show, was a little kid, and now all of a sudden he's like 19 years old. Millie, who plays 11 on the show, she's like 18 now. You know, he's from Canada, she's from England, but they're both playing American kids. Of course, they grow up really fast, so I would think season 4 is probably going to be it, unless they do like a spin-off series of these kids as adults or something. Character Jim Hopper, the cop, he's awesome. Winona Ryder is in it. Everyone knows Winona Ryder. She's like born the same year as me, so I've grown up with watching her career and always, having a crush. Who didn't on Winona Ryder at all times? She's a mom in the show, so it's a really great show. So I went to this pop-up store thing, and what it is a little certain cities in the USA are getting a pop-up store, and it kind of recreates the world of Stranger Things. Of course, it's there to sell you a bunch of stuff. So let's take a quick look at me entering this pop-up store. Of course, they were blasting Huey Lewis, The Power of Love, so I can't use any like the audio from when I was there because it's all copyright music, but I'll just talk over it. So I'm entering in beautiful Oak Brook Mall just outside of Chicago. It is a pop-up store. It takes place in this fictitious town of Hawkins, Indiana, which is just one state away from me in the real world. So I know what it's like to grow up a kid in the Midwest. You got your, living room here, lots of things for sale, tons of things for sale. What caught my eye right away was the first room to the right, which is the arcade room. I grew up in arcades. The 80s for me was age like 8 to 18. So yes, I'm an 80s kids. Grew up primarily, in the 80s. It was a great time to grow up. A lot of people are super nostalgic about it. And one of the big reasons was, it's the first time we got video games, arcade games. Played a little bit of Centipede here. It was a good time. Love the shirts and the items they have for sale in here. Like I said, this is primarily a store. It's not really any kind of like museum for the TV show or anything like that. Like you won't see any real props, used props or anything, but it's a neat store. And it's free. It's free to go in the store and have all these photo opportunities. There's like the Space Laboratory, Secret Place room. Had a lot of cool artwork things. Of course, the action figures. I believe these action figures aren't exclusive to this pop-up store. You can find them in any store. A lot of items, I'd say about, half were exclusive. Now, we say exclusive because you have to go to the pop-up store to get them, but we live in a world of flippers nowadays, so obviously people are going to purchase them and throw them up on eBay within the hour, so it's a shame that things really aren't truly exclusive anymore. I went today in the afternoon when kids were still in school, so it wasn't that crowded. Another cool room is the high school room, the locker room. Took me back to, I played sports all through high school, so very familiar with the locker room. And of course the team is the Tigers, which is my favorite animal. So I really appreciated the team logo there with the tiger on it. Some cool merchandise in this room as well. Checkout line had lots of candy you get from the 80s. So it was awesome for me to check out all that candy. Looked at the display case. It was an Atari 2600. Had a fun time talking to the cashier about that. I was actually in Oak Brook when Atari came out, because Oak Brook Sears, the Sears store in Oak Brook, is where I used to buy a lot of my Atari games. Or rather, I didn't buy them, but I begged my parents to buy them for me. I remember standing in a crazy long line with my parents to get the Pac Man game. Just overall, it was a great experience. Like I said, it's totally free. So it pays to sign up. In case it is crowded, they're going to give priority to the people who've already signed up online. Because I imagine in the evening time and on the weekends, it's going to be pretty crowded. So let's go through the few things that I bought at the store. Like I said, Hawkins High, honor student. I was never an honor student in high school, so this is one way to get these honor student stickers. You have to live in fictitious land. But I bought it because it's got a tiger on it. I like tigers. What else did I get? Oh, like I said, the arcade room was probably my favorite room. It just brought me back. The cheesy carpeting, just like the sounds of arcade games, and I live here in Brookfield, Illinois, and we are home to, I think it's the world's largest arcade. I should do a show highlighting that arcade there because I just love it. Love arcades. So I got an extra large shirt. These jersey shirts, like what I'm wearing now, are pretty cool. Again, a lot of music groups are putting them out and other things. So got this cool shirt of the arcade there. I just love the graphics. Like the 80s to me was about the graphics. It's just so cool. The art on the Atari games and just the cheesiness. It's just good stuff. I picked up some candy. This is for my wife. They're tropical razzles. And like I said, for me, cracked it open as soon as I bought it. Big lead shoe. You gotta get the big lead shoe. I used to call it strikeout, fast pitch, whatever it is you call it. We used to do it in Chicago area a lot. You just paint a square on a building, and someone tries to hit the ball, and you try to strike them out with throwing a ball in the square. And of course, playing that game as a kid, you had to have the big lead shoe. I think I used to get flavored grape and like wild cherry or something. But yeah, it's just this is happiness for your mouth. This is not. I've seen this at stores. This is the Demogorgon. I don't know. And there's a dog figure too. You see that? 2 of them for sale there. Yeah. Toys made in China. Plastic sells it for $18, but here's what it is. I like action figures. So this is like one of the evil science fiction characters there in the Stranger Things land. It's just a big store, but it's got great places to take little pictures and just feel like you're kind of trapped in the Stranger Thing world there. It's also a great way for the people behind it to hype up season 4. It's not going to hit a lot of places, just select cities. Like I said, right now it's in Oak Brook, Illinois. So keeping up with the 80s theme, I have my little ET stuff in my prop set here. Why did I do that? Well, I went recently to a horror convention. I only go to, I'm not big into horror movies, but I go there to get autographs of the stars there. And we was there signing autographs. I think we're the same age. So E.T. kid, me, grew up. And he's a man now, and I'm trying to be a man. I got Elliot's autograph there on the E.T. soundtrack. Let's get to the top 5 80s songs. Now, these are not the best 80s songs, or the top bands, or the most popular. These are just, for me, I came up with a quick list of like, what 5 songs, when I hear, I just think of the 80s. It just brings you to the 80s. Honorable mentions, because there are some bands that just killed it in the 80s. This band is seen as a few hit wonder band. Not really a one hit wonder, they had a few hits, but all 3 of their albums are just great. So I want to give honorable mention to Men at Work, of course. Who Can It Be Now? Also another honorable mention. Oh, this came out and blew up everything. The Police, Synchronicity. I'll tell you, came out in '83, and there's a lot of versions of this cover, and some of the LPs are black, some have like a little purple hue to them. So you want to check out which ones you have, because there's some that are worth a lot more. Showing some pictures that aren't on some versions that are on other. But I had to honorably mention this because of all the, King of Pain, Synchronicity. I actually like Synchronicity 1 and Synchronicity 2 equal. Every Breath You Take, King of Pain, Wrapped Around Your Finger, just huge songs that came off for this. Alright, let's go to the top 5 list. Quick shout out to Pup here. She just had a birthday. She turned 8 the other day. 8 years old. Ah, it's my best friend. Happy birthday, Pup. Number 5, my 5th favorite 80s song from a band from the UK called Madness. The song is called Our House. This band performed twice on an awesome show called The Young Ones. Our House by Madness is number 5. Number 4, 99 Luft Balloons. They redid it. 99 Red Balloons, although that song didn't chart in America. We wanted to learn German. We wanted to say the word Luft. So Nina had us saying 99 Luft Balloons. And I tell you, as a young boy, I had a huge crush on her. All right, number 3. Came out in '83. Of course, when you think of Flock of Seagulls, the 80s and the Flock of Seagulls, you think of this hair horse, and you think of the song I Ran. But to me, number 3 is Wishing. I Had a Photograph of You. Official name, Wishing, and in parentheses I had a photograph of you. Came out on their 2nd album called Listen, and it is just great. The synthesizers that are layered in the production of this song are just so 80s, it'll make you throw up neon green and pink. It's just so 80s. You gotta listen, like the synthesizers. I can say the word synthesizers and chew gum at the same time. Number 2 from Kevin Rowland and Dexy's Midnight Runners from the album Tourae. I always thought it was an Irish band. Primarily, he was born in England, but he's from Irish descent. But the video for Come On Eileen, I think, was filmed in England here. I thought everything was Irish. I don't know. Song number 2, Come On Eileen. For a lot of people, it would be the quintessential number 1 80s song. Come On Eileen. The video's awesome and all that. It's good stuff. It's 80s music was just really fun. Silly fun. A lot of the videos, they didn't have a lot to compare to because it was kind of new to make music videos. So a lot of the videos for the music was fun and silly. It was just good time. So number 2, Come On Eileen. What could be number 1? Is it Mickey? Is it M Pop Music? That actually came out in '79. Is it Major Tom by Tom Schilling? Is it Amadeus by Falco? So many. Is it Putting on the Ritz by Taco? There's so many great 80s, cheesy 80s pop songs. Number 1 song that brings me back to 80s arcades is Urgent by Foreigner for some reason. I hear Urgent by Foreigner, I immediately think of me playing a video game. I don't know. Anyway, for me, it's the number 1 song. Is every time I hear it, I think, bam, the 80s. I think of the video. I think of everything, school in the 80s and the dramas and the crushes I had on the various girls and all that stuff. Always Something There to Remind Me by Naked Eyes. It's actually a cover song. It was written by the famous team of Burt Bacharach and Hal David, and they put it out in '83. This album is officially called Burning Bridges, but I think when they released it in America, they changed the cover and just called it Naked Eyes. But Always Something There to Remind Me. Great song. For me, it's the #1 80s song. Hope you had a nice trip to the 80s like I did. Thanks for watching.